Hi, I'm Joe Roberts and this is Pat.
Hi.
And Pat's going to be leaving our picture in just a second in order to act as my camera person. Thank you, Pat.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for spending a few minutes with me today on film, and I appreciate the opportunity to kind of introduce myself and Pat to you today. My name is Joe Roberts, as I said, and Pat and I are both from Texas. We're born and raised there. Actually, was Roman Catholic during my early period of my life. Got away from the church for a number of years. Finally went back to the Church of Christ and became a disciple when my 5-year-old daughter looked at me one day and she said, "Daddy," and I said, "What, baby?" And she said, "When I grow up, I want to be a preacher like you." And I knew that wasn't going to happen in the Church of Christ. So at that point, I started looking at other denominations and found the disciples. And actually, I think I've been looking for the disciples all of my life. These are just my people. You are my people. And I'm thankful to God to have found you. What we're about is we're about inclusiveness. We're about community. We're about bringing people in. And that seems to me to be what God's about as well. I want to tell you a little bit about my educational background. I became a disciple, as I said, when I was in seminary in Fort Worth, Texas, when my daughter made the profession that she wanted to be a preacher. After I got out of seminary, I began working as a clinical pastoral education supervisor and did that for a number of years in Dallas at the VA hospital. And then Pat and I decided that we had a deep longing to work in the parish. And so we made a short move up to Nova Scotia, Canada from Texas. I could tell you exactly how many miles that was, but that would be an unnecessary detail. We spent almost a year in Canada working with 2 small churches in Nova Scotia on the southeastern side of Nova Scotia. Then returned to the States and returned to Iowa. A church over there called me to be their pastor in Lake City, Iowa. And at that point, Pat could not find work in Iowa and began working again at the VA hospital in St. Cloud, Minnesota. That was a 250-mile commute one way. And so she drove 500 miles every weekend just so we could go to church together and so we could spend a little time together. And that was not working very well for us. She continued to try to find jobs in the VA system, and Roanoke came open. She applied for the job over here and they hired her. We came over here, she came over here in February. I came over here in March after wrapping things up with my small church in Iowa. I want to tell you just a little bit about my theology, and I think I've already indicated that I am a disciple through and through, and I was looking for disciples my whole life. I just didn't know that. I love what we're doing these days when we talk about a movement for wholeness in a fragmented world. I think that's what we're about. We're about justice, we're about community, we're about bringing people in, we're about healing and being the hands and feet of Jesus. And I see the Boones Mill Church doing that work. I want to be part of that. When I think about where this church might go, I'm thinking about Joel chapter 2, verse 28. And it reflects my hopes and dreams for this church. That we will prophesy, that our daughters and sons will prophesy, that our old men will dream dreams, that our young men will see visions, and that we will all be filled with the Spirit of God and listen to God as God directs us in what God would have us to be about in this community. I see you all as already being involved in that. I want to be a part of it. My leadership style is such that I can lead and I can also follow with you.